What's the nature of your emergency?
Good morning, police, fire, military, and families, and to everybody who is listening in on the Tactical Living podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Walton. It is a brand new year. Good morning, good morning. Thank you, Clint. I know that you're probably so sleepy now, but thank you for tuning in too. I'll see you in just a little bit. I don't want to forget, we are doing a giveaway. Anybody who comments the most within the next 24 hours, I will send you a very lovely Valentine's Day box. And because it's a new year, anybody is welcome to win. Good morning, Matthew. We have one of my favorite people, and Jason, I haven't told you this, but my husband, during our last interview together, he said, man, I just really like that guy. And I don't think he likes you as much as I do. But to anybody who may not have met Jason before, this is not his first time on our show. He's a retired veteran. He's also the author of 3 books, getting ready to be the author of 4 books. And one of your books is also available on Audible now. I'm going to have to check that out because the way that you storytell is definitely something that is incredibly entertaining and engaging, and that's called Leading Through the Crossfire. But today we're going to talk about something that I know is applicable to most of us, and especially if you're working under somebody else. Not necessarily only working though, because this also applies to things like our family and friends, and that is toxic leadership. Thank you, Jason, for showing that. Jason, why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about who you are?
Yes, I'm Jason Pike. I'm from a small town called Fingerville, South Carolina. That's not a joke. It's actually the truth. It's in northern Spartanburg County. I'm living in Texas, in the hill country of Texas right now. Been all over the world. I've spent 9 years in 5 different countries, 31 years. I went from the bottom, from enlisted private PP, Private Pike, all the way up to Lieutenant Colonel Pike. And so that's my story. I've got 3 books out. A Soldier Against All Odds is my memoir of my life story throughout the military. Wild, everything good, bad, and the ugly on that one. And then after that, I was called to do something with the veterans, how to get their veterans benefits and out of the uniform back into civilian life was my second one about, you deserve it. You served, you deserved, you need to get the veterans benefits. And then that third book, what we're talking about now is toxic leadership. That was the deepest, darkest time of my life. A lot of people think, well, wasn't Afghanistan when you went and almost got killed over there? No, it wasn't. I mean, I'm sorry to say it, but that wasn't my deepest, darkest time. My deepest, darkest time, everybody wanted to ask, was really in peacetime, in Korea, under toxic leadership. And that was that scared the shit out of me. And but it wasn't war. I was trained for war. And I was trained to, run to the bullets and stuff like that. But it was about things that I wasn't trained to, but wasn't even prepared for it. And it was toxic leadership. Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate you being honest about that. And I've never heard somebody articulate it in that way, but it makes total sense. So in order for us to kind of have this segue into this, for anybody who might not be aware that they're even experiencing toxic leadership, what are some of the qualities or the things that you've seen that somebody might be able to identify for themselves?
They have a lack of empathy for people. They just do not really care about you. And they may say so, but they don't. And you'll see it through their actions. That's one thing. They kiss up, but they shit down. I mean, they kiss up, but they kick down. That's a attribute to them. They are a narcissist. They care about themselves and a feeling of grandiosity. Okay, they're arrogant. They've got a mental problem. I'm going to say that they've got a mental problem. Something to keep in mind. It's kind of scary. They could be a micromanager. They could be incompetent. They could be, just an extreme lack of empathy. So there could be other aspects to them. They may have just inappropriate behavior, outbursts. Maybe they scratch their ass too much, or maybe there's just something strange about them, and you'll detect that. So those are some of the things that I see, and it's scary. I am scared of toxic leaders. Anybody who's toxic. I mean, we're talking about leadership, but it could be a relationship, toxic this or toxic that, or a toxic coworker. They're going to still have those same strange attributes about them. And it's something to to be aware of. And in my book, I talk about how to get around it, how to avoid it, and some mistakes that I made. And there in the book, there's other people. It happens to a lot of people, and it's not. I mean, it's not going to be all the time. It's just going to be maybe once. In my career, I only saw it twice, maybe three times, and that's 31 years. So most everything has been pretty good in the military, but you will come across some things that you might want to steer away from or try to manage your career around.
Yeah. And, Clint and I just recorded a podcast where we were talking about like rank doesn't make you a leader. So that's a big problem that I see in the realm of military and with first responders. So what advice would you have for somebody who's maybe not of the same rank that they see in somebody who is exhibiting these sort of toxic traits and they have to work with them all the time?
Well, I would try to get the hell out of Dodge if you could, and try to change your career. I'm not saying totally change your career path, but get away from them is what I'm thinking. And to either transfer to another department or a different position, or somehow move away from their influence if you can. If you cannot do that and you have to work with them, I would take notes. I tried to take notes, but a lot of times you're in such an anxiety state of mind that it's very difficult for you to want to relive what happened yesterday or last week or last month and to put it into notes. And the reason I say put it into the notes is because you may need to give it to quality control or some person in the organization that could help you transfer out, either be medical or either be chaplain, either to move out or to have documents, and not only for yourself, but if you can get another coworker to also substantiate that. But I want to say that if you're going to do that, you need to be very, very careful, because the toxic leader or that toxic person is so powerful, so ambitious that they may have everybody like in their back pocket. And you may get ratted out, and they probably will find out about you, even if you do report them, because, and if they, and when they do find out who you are, regardless of the anonymity of the organization, they will come after you. They will come after you in the different organization. So just be careful and understand your organization before you report them or before you try to give documents to try to get transferred out or what have you. So that's what I'm thinking. We go through that in the book, and I talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I'm thinking about how, from my experience with toxic leadership, most of the time this is of a personality type, and this is something that they bring home as well. So can you shift into maybe some toxic traits that we might want to look out for in our personal relationships and some ways to kind of combat that?
Bullying, berating, putting you down to where you're not the person that you are. You know who the person you are, but if you're constantly being berated or harassed in such a way that where you're coming home and you're either be the personal relationship or the toxic, or bringing home that toxic from the work environment, you just feel down. You don't feel you're Jason. You don't feel you're Ashley. You don't feel you're Clint. There's something that's missing. That smile I used to have, it sort of went from a smile down to, and we all get depressed and down, but when it's always down, your smile's always down, you know something's going on, and it's more of the relationship with be the boss or the back at home, and you know something's wrong, and it continues, and that smile don't come out anymore much, and so that's what happened to me, and I just survived. I just bit the bullet, and I did the wrong thing, which was I couldn't I tried to transfer, but I was in such an obscure occupation that I wasn't able to transfer out, but eventually I just survived it, and a lot of Jack Daniels, a lot of exercising, I went to counseling, and I went through a lot of things I went to the chaplain. I did all kinds of things to try to just manage day to day on it. I went through, So they sent me through false federal investigations, people following me around, just all these little things that just make you paranoid, and I know I didn't do anything wrong, and I was just doing the best I could in the organization, but they will try a number of ways to try to get you. If they don't want you in, they'll do a number of things to try to knock you out of the club, either make you give up or just make your life miserable, or maybe even just get all the rumors and the innuendos and the false accusations. Maybe they're trying to get that to a level to where the leadership will just put you somewhere else, and maybe they don't want you around. So these things can happen in a number of different ways.
Yeah, Nicole, document. Absolutely. I love having a paper trail for anything like that. And, I'm thinking about the physiological impact when you're around somebody like that. Like, our instincts are so telling, because when I worked under somebody who was, I've never believed that there could be Satan on earth more than when I came to know this individual. And so as soon as that door would open in the back and I would hear her come in, my entire spine would tingle and everything would tense up. And it's just so interesting the way that, our body does keep the score and is trying to give us that information. And I know we have about 10 minutes left, Jason, but you are one of my favorite storytellers. So could you just share maybe an example of your personal experience of something came to be to where you identified that this person was toxic and then you found your way out of it?
Well, just like you're saying that you said something tingled in you. Really think of your instincts. We're sort of animalistic. We can smell, we have our senses, we can smell, we can hear, we can see, we kind of know what's right and wrong. And just like you're saying, it's that July of 2007, I walked into the office. So why I want to set the story up is we move every 2 to 3, 4 years. We move to a different assignment. I was moving to a different assignment, and it just happened to be South Korea. I've been there before, and this is my third time. I walk into the office, and just like you were saying, oh my God, I know something's wrong. And this is like my first day. And I could tell by the way people were just acting, I just knew something was wrong. And that grew on me, and that grew on me. I said, something's going to happen. I told my wife, I said, something is going to happen in this assignment that's going to be bad. I said, it's just my first day. And I'm meeting some new people, and I'm meeting the office, and, I'm a lieutenant colonel, I'm a leader. I'm looking around, and I could just tell. And that grew on me. What I'm saying is my anxiety built up because I just knew, I was so sure about it. And it was not there just for a week or two. It was there for many months. And then later on it developed. And then here I come in, I go see the boss, says, you're not working out. You need to either leave or you need to improve yourself. They gave me a counseling statement, first counseling statement, meaning a negative counseling statement I've ever had in my years of service. And that was, and my boss started to cry about it. And she was like, I don't know, it was something bothering her to give me the bad counseling statement. So your supervisor is crying in the office over a negative. And I said, oh my God, I know everything's going on. And so I'm going to fast forward it a little bit. I found myself under a false investigation of subversion and espionage against the U.S. government. I'm just telling you this. There's many other things that went around. There's other things that they tried. And so I went up, and criminal investigation division got involved. The inspector general was involved. The CID, military intelligence was involved. And basically I just went through a lot of just false crap, people following me around. I had to go to an attorney. I had to get an attorney to sort of to defend me, which I never went to an article hearing. I never had to go that route because they never had anything on me. But it made me feel that I was pushed out of the club. You've ever heard of the Mean Girls Club, or you're not in it anymore. You're not. So this thing I have been successful in, now I'm good. I was really good, and now I'm just like a piece of shit. I'm nobody. And matter of fact, we're trying to get you out of the Army on a bad discharge conduct. And so I'm like, what in the world is happening? I was like, then you start questioning yourself. It's like, did I do anything? And you start feeling guilty, and you start feeling all these weird things. Like I'm depression, and like I must have done something. I didn't do anything. So these things are going through your mind. You feel confused, and I know you're supposed to document, but you're in a state of hell. I was like, okay, my name is Jay. So when you're trying to do the documentation, you start reliving it. It's so hard to do, and you don't know who to trust, and you feel like I don't know. It seems like the world's coming down on you, and it's not just for a day or two. It just goes on for months. And then with my with my particular case, it sort of like once I left South Korea, it just went away. I didn't hear anything about it anymore, and that what made it wrong. No one said they were sorry, and that made me feel bad because I felt that they were coming after me in my other assignments too because I didn't hear anything about it. And it's like, which the good thing is, I didn't go to the. I'm still in the Army. I didn't go to article hearing, but it just does a number to you. I think that was the only time they really pounded, like they knocked me down. They knocked me, and everybody's got a breaking point, and that's the time in my 31 years that I hit my breaking point was right then. And so that's kind of what happened to me in a nutshell. There's many more things that happened, but that's the nutshell right there.
So then what did you do to kind of overcome that sense of, I mean, really it's gaslighting a lot of the times.
Yeah, gaslighting is a good term that people have used. Throwing someone under the bus. Another term would be the takeout, the takedown. I kind of always thought these occurred in high school. I didn't think they occurred in professional life, but they do. And so I did a number of things. First of all, drinking Jack Daniels, that was drinking a lot. And then after that, I was exercising a lot. And then I went to the mental health chaplain when it went with it. I went to the chaplain and then I went to mental health when it was not popular. That didn't really do me as much good. I eventually, just by accident, which really helped me, was sort of get on the I've always been a workout guy, but I got on the elliptical machine and then I just allowed, while I was doing the physical exercise, I started allowing all my emotions to break out on the machine. So while you're sweating, oh, I'm crying. Oh, I'm laughing. Oh, I'm getting mad. And then while I was doing it, I was doing two things at the same, exercising and just vomiting out emotions that had built up in me while I was doing that. And that was like an exorcism in many ways. It was sort of like using the toilet. And I said, wow, this feels good. I'm going to do this every day as much as I can. And that's kind of what helped me a lot doing that. Yeah.
I really love that you made mention of like physically channeling that energy out of you, because when I was in this same circumstance, what I did was I bought a punching bag and a speed bag, and then we set up new targets in our front yard. So like there are ways to be able to physically channel it out of you. And I think it's so important to be able to do that. And it's one of those things where it can also feel really lonely. I don't know if you've experienced that too, where, you know, because everyone's telling you like, shame on you, right? And you're the one who knows that you didn't do anything wrong, but everyone's telling you it is. And that's why I use the term gaslighting. So in a situation like that, when you're going through the motions of like, let's say it's time to heal, or you don't have to deal with those people anymore. I know for me, it was very difficult because you're so used to that kind of negative energy. And then when you don't have it anymore, that absence is something that you definitely pay attention to. So what are some other options and things that you might suggest for people who maybe don't want to go punch a punching bag or cry on the elliptical, or, you know, go out front and shoot?
Oh, you know, animals, dogs are very, very good to have. Your immediate family and friends, people that you can trust in your circle of friends, of your family. I would talk to my wife. I talked to my father when he was alive back then, and these people you can talk to. That would be another option to do. I would play with other options of mental health. I look at mental health as a menu of options, and some people meditate. Some people underwater basket weave. I'm saying there's so many different options. Okay. So yoga, it could be just small things in nature, whatever fits your boat. And I'm saying go and taste it. And if you don't like it, spit it out, go to the next one or give it a try. And I would just look at the menu of options of what might help you. You don't. My mom used to say, if you don't know what it tastes like unless you taste it, and so I would do that and look at it that way. Yeah.
Jason, what do you think happens to somebody who is in that type of toxic situation and maybe they can't transfer, and for whatever reason they give themselves those excuses, right? Like, oh, well, I retire in 7 years, so I'll just stick it out for 7 more years. What do you think happens to that person during those 7 years?
I think they will. I think they will crumble. I think they will eventually hit bottom. They will either go to extreme substance abuse. They may be. They will either they could either they could wind up killing themselves. They could wind up killing someone else, which I almost wanted to. But they will do. So it's not going to be very healthy for them or their family. I do think they need to transfer or find a way to get out of the situation. And if you're not going to get out of the situation, that means you need to confront the situation, and which I say to do it very carefully. And I have in my book on things of the details of the notes, and the things, and then you will need to give it to someone that you can trust. You might want to go to medical and get the medical people to say that this has ruined you, and you have evidence. Maybe the medical people can help transfer you to somewhere else. Yeah, my case hit so high level in Washington, D.C. I was a lieutenant colonel, and there was rumors coming out of South Korea going up to my human resources people, and they didn't know what to believe because they're far, far away. I'm in South Korea, and all these rumors about Jason were going on, this and this and this and this, all this. But they eventually did transfer me. It made so much that they transferred me within South Korea. It gave me a little bit of breathing room. But if you're stuck and you say, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that, that means you need to confront the situation, or you could just quit and get back in. I would say get the hell out of Dodge. That's the best thing to do. And if you're not going to do that, you're going to confront it. And if you're not, your health is going to go downhill. You may become addicted to something, and it may affect your family and friends. You could get divorces, or you could just estrange your family because it's going to be, you're going to go downhill. There's no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, Clint just said underwater weaving basket is great. Yeah. So I know more of this context as to what you're saying in terms of the examples that you've shared, because I have read your work and really paid close attention to it. And again, because you are such a great storyteller, it's very easy to be able to consume. So as we wrap this up, can you just share what the name of your books are and where people can get them?
So this book we're talking about, Leading Through the Crossfire, you don't have to read it. You can hear it in my beautiful voice of Jason Pike. I am the narrator. I am the author. There's not many narrators and authors at the same time. So I'm the narrator and the author. And then the other one that I'm a narrator and author to is the most popular book is, and I do talk, it's A Soldier Against All Odds. And that I do talk about toxic leadership in here. And so out of this book, the most popular book, that's what drove me to do the toxic, because everybody was asking, what is the worst situation? So, those are the two books that are audio and, the in my voice. And then I've got a very small self-help guide of how to get your veterans benefits. It's more of as a guide. So those are my three books. I'm working on a fourth book, and I've got blogs and jasonpike.org, all the blogs and all the inspirational messages are there. That's where it's all on Amazon. So yeah.
Perfect. And I highly recommend picking up all of them, because The Soldier Against All Odds, when I read that, it was like one story after another, that like the first one is unbelievable. And then just hearing everything compounding the way that it does, it just makes me so proud to know somebody like you who is using that experience to be able to help other people. So I thank you for that. And thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us this morning. To everybody, if you have any more comments, go ahead and drop them down below and we'll make sure to get them answered. And I hope everybody has an amazing day. Thanks, Jason.
Bye-bye.